This is the Anbernic RG Nano, a brand new $65 mini retro handheld that's made of metal, can emulate up to PlayStation 1 games, and comes preloaded straight out of the box. This is a device that Nintendo needs to keep an eye on because it is now probably my favorite retro handheld of 2023 so far. Let's jump into the full review. You're probably thinking, Brandon, how the hell is this tiny Matchbox device your best retro handheld of the year so far? And it comes down to just enjoyment. And I have reviewed tons of handhelds here on the channel, but mini handhelds like this have a special place in my heart because they're just easy to play on. You can give them to friends and family. You can even give them to kids, all for $65. So here is the initial packaging that you will receive if you did order. Pretty slim. It comes in a couple of different colors. We've got blue, purple, and the red here. It even comes with a little keychain as well, should you actually want to put this on a keyring. Comes with a little setup manual. You get your cable for charging, which is USB-C, and then your itty bitty RG Nano. So you've got the red here, comparing it with the blue, two very stunning colors. Me personally, I'm kind of edging towards the blue, and straight out of the box, you will feel the weight of this thing. It's made of metal, so it does add a bit of weight to it, and it does get a little warm when playing games. But in terms of build quality, this thing is phenomenal. It's one that you can chuck in your bag. You know, even if you dropped it, it's not going to cause any issues at all because it's made of metal. So this is the design here. As you can probably tell, it is small. If I pull over the Funky S, you can kind of get a sense of size here. Look at that. And me personally, this is its biggest competitor, and we'll talk about why and how they both kind of interlink, because Anbernic have taken some of the operating system work from the Funky OS team because, well, typical Anbernic. So this is kind of what you're getting. In terms of design, you know, it's very, very small. You've got a 1.5-inch display on here with a resolution of 240 by 240, 64 megabytes of RAM, and a 1.2 gigahertz CPU inside. You can see the USB-C charging on the top with these two shoulder buttons. One thing I like about this shoulder button, and it's just a me thing, it kind of turns into like a little fidget toy. This here, I just find myself doing that. It almost feels like a metal Zippo lighter. It's just really satisfying and I dig it. The screen here, if I turn this on, you've got the on-off button on the side, which also acts as like a menu button, and you've got the SD card here. So in terms of the screen, you can kind of get a sense of size when it turns on. I was playing Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation 1 here, so you can kind of get an idea. It's not the brightest of games to show it off, but you know, it does have a little bit of a bezel too. I'll shut that down and give you a closer look at the buttons. These buttons are tiny, and you know, when pressing the action buttons, I do find myself using my nail just to get some kind of accuracy. And then the D-pad, you know, Anbernic absolutely nailed the D-pads, and they've nailed it on this one too. But when I'm pressing up, you will notice that my thumb kind of overlaps with the screen slightly, so do take that in consideration. I wish they lowered it slightly to kind of diffuse that, but I guess if it was too low, you'd be hitting the start and select buttons too. And as you can tell, it's got a couple of nods to the DMG. It's got the fake speaker grill here. This isn't actually a speaker grill, and it does actually slant slightly on the bottom right corner, just like the DMG. You've got the back grills as well along the battery pack. But what I would have liked to see is the SD card slot kind of being where the cartridge goes in. So that would have been quite neat. But again, that's just me being picky, and you can add your lanyard here as well. So in hand, you know, when playing, I find myself going towards this kind of, you know, layout, I guess, where I have the thumbs at the bottom playing on the A-B buttons, and then the shoulder buttons with my index finger. And again, at the top here, more detailing from the Game Boy DMG. You're probably thinking, Brandon, how long do these tiny things last? Inside, it has a 1050 milliamp battery, and I've managed to pull around 2 to 3 hours out of it, depending on what games you use. PS1, you're looking at like 2 hours, but you know, your Game Boy, your NES, your SNES, you're looking at more closer to 3. Here's a better look at the display using Sonic the Hedgehog here as an example. It's just a stunning little display, and I'm sure it's similar to the one they use in the Funky S as well. Now, you will see when I press this home button that they use the Funky operating system inside. It's a very fluid operating system, especially when you're in the game and you're pressing the menu buttons. Like, it's very easy to, you know, go into your volumes, your brightness, you can save state, load state, you can change the aspect ratio as well, which is very easy, and you can exit game if you wanted to go out to the main menu. Very, very simple. But it's once you jump into the main menu that things get a little disgusting and a little bit outdated, but it's simple enough to give to a child and understand what to do. If you wanted to, you can change your skins. If you wanted something a little bit more adventurous, I guess, let's do something like that. Press select, it will change it up, and it should look a little different. You know, did it? I don't know. But the OS could use a little work, and no doubt with Anbernic being like they are, they'll just wait for the community to do it themselves. So in terms of the, you know, the menus and the operating system, not the best, but it's easy to jump in. So I'm in Game Boy now, and I've got all of the games preloaded straight out of the box. Pretty easy peasy. And in terms of gameplay, it's, you know, it works very, very well up to and including PlayStation 1. So on here, you've got Game Gear, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Atari Lynx, Sega Master System, Mega Drive, NES, Neo Geo, WonderSwan, SNES. You can see on this one I have a slightly different skin on the menu. And there you'll find PlayStation 1, again, BIOS and games already loaded up. I just press start or A, resume game, sure, and it will take me into the game. And you kind of get a sense of the audio quality. You know, it's not the best, and the speaker is actually at the bottom here if my camera wants to focus. If my there, look. You got the speaker grill at the bottom. So this actually, the actual fake speaker grill doesn't even work. But you know, you're not going to get a good speaker in here at all. Is it better than the Funky OS? Very similar products, almost identical in fact in terms of specs. It's just Anbernic have gone kind of one step forward and used their signature metal shell to kind of compete with the market. And they are similar priced, but obviously the Funky S has the stunning clamshell design, which I absolutely love. And rumors have it they're working on something else. So who knows what could come out of the Funky team. But this here, it's just, for me, it's when I'm traveling away or I'm at my desk waiting for a video to render, I can pick this up and play, and it will please me for 10, 20, 30 minutes. I've played on it for an hour once, and that's when you start to kind of, you know, get your cramps, become a little bit uncomfortable, the metal shell warms up, and the battery life, I'm constantly keeping an eye on the battery life, and I found myself once actually running out of charge because of the small 2 to 3 hour battery life. So do take that into consideration if you are looking at this product. Is it a bit of a gimmick? Yes, but I love these things. They're just there when you need them to be. But do remember that, you know, the battery life isn't the best, nor is the operating system inside. Fortunately, there's probably going to be a workaround for the OS, but not so much the battery life. But I'm impressed by Anbernic, and this is probably the best handheld they've released all year. I know. It like, on paper, not even powerful. Maybe slightly even overpriced. If they managed to get this down to $50, that would be an absolute steal. But I still think $65 for this little thing is a good price. It's got the metal shell. It's going to last for years. It's going to take hits, scratches and bumps, and not be, you know, not be broken at the end of it. So I think Anbernic have done an incredible job here. And you might be wondering, Brandon, why should Nintendo be even making something like this? I think a lot of people want the Game Boy Mini. And if Nintendo made a mini handheld like this in the form of a Game Boy Mini and preloaded 10 to 15 games and sold it for $50, I think it would sell a lot. And Nintendo need to keep an eye on this, not only for legal reasons and stacking it full of ROMs, but Two, because I think these are going to sell well. I think it might be the year of mini handhelds. People want to get into the scene. Kids as well are going to love these things, and it's just an easy entry point for those that want to explore old classic games for an affordable price in a very durable form factor. Like this thing here, it's just going to last years. It's built like a brick shit house.